It was an ordinary evening when Sara, a young scientist, noticed an unusual anomaly in her research data. She was studying interstellar radiation patterns at a secluded observatory when the readings spiked unpredictably. At first, she thought it was a technical error, but when the pattern repeated every hour, she realized something far stranger was at play. The signals weren't natural, they were deliberate. As Sara dug deeper into the data, she began receiving cryptic messages, not in words, but in strange visual patterns that appeared on her screen. They were symbols she couldn't make sense of, yet the images seemed to pulse with a hidden rhythm. It didn't take long before Sara's curiosity turned into fear. Someone, or something, was trying to communicate with her. Weeks passed, and Sara became obsessed. She started losing sleep, isolating herself from her friends and family, determined to decode the mystery. Then, one night, everything changed. In a burst of light, the sky above the observatory was filled with an otherworldly ship. Its design was sleek, almost too perfect, like something out of a dream. As it hovered silently above the ground, Sara knew she wasn't just witnessing a UFO, she was about to meet a being from another world. The alien, as she would later come to know it, descended from the ship in a flash of light. It was humanoid in shape, but its skin shimmered with an iridescent glow, and its eyes were pools of darkness that seemed to absorb the very light around it. The creature didn't speak, yet Sara felt a wave of thoughts rush into her mind, as if the alien was communicating telepathically. "You are the one," it said without words, "to decide what happens next." Sara didn't know what to make of it, but the urgency in the alien's presence made it clear that this was no coincidence. It wasn't here for peaceful contact or scientific exchange, it was here because something was wrong, and the alien needed her help. The alien, which introduced itself as Zhorath, explained that it came from a distant galaxy where civilizations once flourished. But its home planet was dying. Zhorath was part of a last-ditch effort to find a solution by exploring Earth. There was a way to save its people, but it required a choice that no one could make lightly. Zhorath revealed that Earth's resources were critical to their survival. But the alien was in a moral quandary. In order to save its species, Zhorath needed to take Earth's resources. A vast amount of energy, enough to wipe out entire ecosystems, would be siphoned off in a matter of days. The alien had already seen the devastation its own people had caused to their world, and now it stood on the precipice of making the same mistake again. Sara felt a mix of dread and disbelief. She had to make a choice: allow Zhorath to use Earth's resources to save its people, condemning humanity to destruction, or refuse, dooming the alien species to extinction. There was no middle ground. Zhorath's people could not survive without Earth's energy, but taking it would undoubtedly destroy the planet. The moral dilemma tormented Sara. She saw the desperation in Zhorath's eyes, a reflection of her own inner conflict. She tried to reason with the alien, asking if there wasn't another way. But Zhorath was firm, the decision was binary. Days passed, and Sara spent every waking moment trying to find an alternative. She turned to ancient myths, studied human history, and researched potential energy sources that might offer a solution. The pressure mounted, as the alien grew more insistent with each passing hour. Time was running out. Every failed attempt to find a third option felt like another nail in humanity's coffin. One night, Sara thought she had found a solution. She proposed a joint effort, Earth's greatest minds working with the alien species to find a sustainable energy source that could benefit both worlds. But Zhorath was cold to the idea, its silence speaking volumes. The alien was beyond saving, and it knew it. There was no time for idealism or long-term solutions. Only survival remained. As the days wore on, Sara noticed Zhorath becoming increasingly detached, almost resigned. The alien was torn. It had seen countless civilizations fall before, and it understood the inevitable truth: in times of desperate need, people and species often made decisions they regretted. But inaction could be just as deadly. Zhorath had made up its mind, but it still wanted to hear from Sara, the human who was meant to decide. And then, just as the tension reached its peak, Sara felt the weight of her decision settle upon her. She realized that perhaps it wasn't just the alien that had a choice to make. It was her, too. The world she had always known might be on the brink of destruction, But could she bring herself to sacrifice it for the sake of another species? The final moments of decision were heavy, filled with a sense of dread and inevitability. As Sara stood before Zhorath, the alien's form flickered like a mirage in the dim light of the observatory. The stakes were too high for hesitation, but no matter what choice she made, it would cost humanity something. In the end, Sara realized that both worlds couldn't survive if they fought for the same resources. Earth wasn't an infinite supply of energy, and the more it was drained, the more the balance of nature would tip toward collapse. The aliens' people, who had already destroyed their own world, would do the same here, no matter how much they tried to justify their survival. If Zhorath's species was to survive, it would need to evolve beyond its reliance on destruction. Sara made her decision. She chose to refuse the aliens' request. She refused to let Earth fall to the same fate as Zhorath's planet. But as the alien's expression darkened, Sara offered one last plea, an offer of peace. She promised to help Zhorath find a way to sustain its species without relying on the destruction of another world. In that moment, Zhorath seemed to waver, caught between its instincts and the possibility of redemption. But the alien's final words were chilling. "There is no future for us without your help." The ship began to rise, and Zhorath's figure disappeared into the night sky. The world would remain untouched for now, but Sara knew it was only a matter of time before the dilemma would return. In the quiet aftermath, Sara found herself contemplating the bigger question: could any species truly survive without compromising its morality? Was sacrifice inevitable when survival was on the line? She didn't have the answers yet, but one thing was clear: the future of Earth had just become far more complicated, and humanity's true test had only just begun.